Hello there, Blathworth buddies. The Blathworth here, reacting to episode 10 of Kevin Spencer.
It was time for Kevin to appear before an appeals court again.
Oh,
Every
now he's
few
at the
years,
court?
he was
About
allowed to
time if you
stand in
ask
front of the
me.
judge and promised that even
I
though his
agree.
criminal record needed a small forklift
Oh,
in
hey,
order
he
to
looks
be
like
entered as
Hannibal
evidence,
Lecter tied
he
up
was
like
all
that.
better. It wouldn't do any bad things again.
All right. Stand up as the judge enters.
Yeah, we know the routine.
The court will be hearing the case of Kevin Spencer, appealing a sentence of 900 years without possibility of parole. Judge Whack-A-Mole presiding.
Your Honor, I'm here to prove that my client is an innocent, naive young cherub who's been led down a road of corruption by a bad family and upbringing.
Proceed. And get a fire extinguisher in here.
Your Honor, I call the boy's alleged father, Percy Spencer, to the stand.
Yeah, precisely. He's very corrupt.
I've been telling people for years, the little freak's head don't work right.
Mr. Spencer, how has your son's incarceration affected your familial circumstances?
Percy didn't know what in hell the lawyer was saying, so he decided to lighten the mood with some of his patented armpit playing.
Okay, I do that all the time. Yeah, we know Bingo.
Okay.
Very disgusting.
Let me rephrase the question. Mr. Spencer, what's it been like having your boy in prison?
We're turning his bedroom into a microbrewery.
Your Honor,
What?
I put it to you that this youngster is swimming upstream against genetics and circumstance. How can we stand in judgment just because he finally reached the breaking point? Who knows what torments he's had to endure with this man as a father?
Look, Ma, I'm in court again.
You sure are, baby.
Percy Spencer was a hard-drinking, chain-smoking, drug-abusing ex-convict. So when the traveling carnival came to town, he was made supervisor.
You're perfect to operate our most dangerous ride, the Regurgitator. It used to belong to Nassau, but they thought it was too dangerous. Any questions?
When do I get the money?
Good question.
Oh, of course.
Any
that
others?
is question.
Can I get drunk while I work?
Hey, this is a very dangerous ride, so only drink vodka. If something goes wrong, the cops can't smell it on your breath.
Gotcha.
Because Kevin's dad was working for the carnival, Kevin got free admission. Kevin decided to drop by and enjoy a few rides and see if he could screw his old man out of his paycheck. When he arrived at the Regurgitator, he found that his dad had already gotten bored and left, leaving a group of people stranded on the ride for over an hour. Then he noticed something unusual. Every time the ride went past, something flew out of the pockets of the people on board. Coins, wallets, shoes, even a nifty artificial glass eye. Kevin thought the glass eye would make a
I
really
don't know
cool
where that one came
keychain.
from.
He figured it was easier than working, so he decided to sit tight and see what else he could catch. Kevin learned right quick that some things are more fun to catch than others. When Kevin came to, he figured he better go find the old man and start working on his paycheck. Kevin found his dad hanging out in the beer tent with the freaks, and things were getting pretty rowdy. Percy was helping the human pinhead rehearse.
I done this to a guy once before, but it wasn't a show.
Kevin tried to catch his old man's eye, but his dad didn't pay any attention because he was really hammered and trying to get
really
it
get
on
some
with the
support.
Siamese twins.
Hey, baby, I think you meet the height restrictions to hop on board my ride.
Not a chance, you fat piss tank! Besides, we're shacked up with the rubber man!
Come on. Only
Wait,
loving
wait,
I've been
right,
getting
Silky?
is when the dog-faced boy starts humping my leg. God damn it, there he goes again. Get off me, effing prick. Get.
Suddenly, the whole beer tent went silent.
We
We represent a community group which is outraged by the exploitation of these so-called freaks. Who are you to label someone as the world's fattest lady or smelliest man?
I ain't no freak. I work the rides, you friggin' earthwipe.
We're not going to let you continue this exploitation by letting people stare and gawk. We're going to show the community cares by putting them all in hospitals where they can be unemployed and lonely.
The council threatened to come back the next day with a cease and desist order.
How rude.
Canceling our freak show?
The Carney
Yeah, but
manager
I guess
was
I can
really
understand
upset.
They would do
This
that,
was the
hey.
biggest tragedy since the fire
They're
eater got
free people.
diarrhea and accidentally killed 6 people. Kevin didn't quite understand what was going on, but he could tell by the way his old man was stealing half-full beers that he'd already blown his paycheck.
Oh, dear.
So they both decided to check out the rest of the carnival. They found Mum at a Guess Your Weight booth.
I guess your weight to be
Okay, what the heck is
105
that?
pounds.
I don't know, Amy.
Gosh, you must be psychic.
He must be effing blind. She's a quarter ton easy. Hey, look, there's
Oh.
Charlie.
He'd not be so
Hemp
rude.
shirts, hemp soap, everything you can imagine made from hemp. Mirror with a marijuana leaf on it? If it's made of hemp, we got it.
Oh my god.
Got any for smoking?
Gosh, can you smoke it?
Finally, Kevin and his dad arrived back at the Regurgitator. The city council members from the beer tent were all standing in line to ride.
Well, I hope this is finally some acceptable, good-natured family fun.
Kevin couldn't help but notice all the toys, prizes, jewelry, and purses they were bringing with them, and he told his dad to jack up the speed as soon as he started the ride. It started raining valuables. Kevin caught jewelry, wallets, and other great stuff. Then there was an enormous crash. The ride had snapped from its moorings and flew off into a nearby swamp.
That was a hell of a good plan, boy. I doubt we'll be hearing from them city councilors again.
Kevin didn't know what the man was talking about, but because people seemed to like him, he just nodded his head and smiled so they wouldn't think he was a moron.
Kevin Spencer, king of the freaks.
And that's how Kevin saved the freaks from being committed to the state hospital. It's also how he got convicted of criminal negligence causing bodily harm. Kevin was in appeals court, trying to get a few years knocked off his sentence. His lawyer was convinced that he could get his term reduced to 500 years with good behavior.
Your Honor, I'd like to call my next witness, Mr. Franklin, Kevin's psychiatrist.
Oh no.
Mr. Franklin,
Of
do you
course-
promise
of
to
course
tell
it
the
is.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Truth? Truth? What is truth? It all comes down to interpretation, doesn't it? The Jungian approach of a synchronous weave reality, contrasted with the schisms of the Freudian...
Just
finger
say,
that
I
overrides the other.
do.
Theoretically, I do.
Mr. Franklin, is Kevin Spencer, as so many have asserted in the past, a lost cause?
Nobody is a lost cause. Ah, is a landmine evil? It certainly exists for an evil purpose, but in and of itself, it is not conscious of any evil intent. It's merely
Okay.
fulfilling its purpose.
Your
Sorry
Honor,
about that, guys.
if
That
you
was
had
just
to
a
listen to
phone
this pompous idiot all day, don't you think you'd find yourself acting out fantasies as a way of coping?
Yeah, it's understandable.
Sometimes when you're a chain-smoking alcoholic sociopath, you run into problems remembering things, like where you are and how you
the
got
heck
there.
is he doing in a
Kevin was
in a
having one of those
junkyard
days.
now? I have no flipping clue, Trooper.
Things got even more mysterious when he realized just how far from home he was. The Mexican border.
The desert.
It took 2 days, but Kevin finally hitchhiked home.
There you are, you little bastard. What the hell happened to you?
Kevin told his dad about Mexico and asked him if he knew anything that might help Kevin remember what happened.
You were supposed to be going to the liquor store for me and the old lady.
Kevin's dad told him about his plan to break into the liquor store. First, they gathered up a week's worth of empty beer bottles, hid Kevin inside, and took him into the store to return the empties. After the store closed for the night, Kevin could emerge and open the door so that Percy could pull up in the stolen truck and load up the booze. Percy thought this was a perfect plan,
Right, so that
mostly because he was
too.
stupid and drunk most of the time. The first problem was they couldn't find a truck powerful enough to carry a week's worth of empties, so they could only carry a couple of days' worth of bottles.
I'll have to open these cases and make sure they're all full.
Percy hadn't counted on that. He was about to make a run for it and leave the boy to the cops when he came up with an idea. He pulled the fire alarm so everyone would have to run out of the store. Kevin heard the fire alarm from inside the beer case where he was hiding and wondered what was happening. He got even more confused when fire extinguisher foam came shooting through the cardboard.
There ain't no fire in here. Whole damn thing's a false alarm.
Damn, and now I have a drippy holes and I'm all covered in white stuff. Yeah.
Grab a case of beer. We'll drink it after the shift. The pricks owe us for wasting our time.
The fireman picked up the case with Kevin inside and threw it on the fire truck. Before the fire truck could get back to the station house, they received another call.
Truck 23, respond to a fire in Junkieville. A rowdy mob has set fire to a crack house.
We're on it.
When they got to the crack house, things really started kicking. Junkies and pimps were brawling with vigilantes and members of local senior citizens associations.
Take that, and here's another one for Harry S. Truman. Now there's a president who knew about hats.
Kevin took advantage of the commotion to sneak out of the beer case and hide in a nearby composting bin.
Hey man, are you a narc?
Of course he's not a narc. He's a little kid, man.
I don't know, these narcs can be pretty sly, man.
Normally a composter wouldn't hold so many people, but luckily most junkies subsist on a diet of bread and fast food ketchup envelopes, so they all managed to fit into the same one.
Those freaking people torched our house, man.
Yeah, we lost everything. The CD player, the Neil Diamond albums.
The only thing we didn't lose was this big pile of drugs.
Soon everyone in the bin was cranked up on something sweet, and they talked about their hopes and dreams in life.
Wouldn't it be cool to go on vacation in someplace like Mexico, you know?
Kevin told them he'd been to Mexico on his honeymoon with a prostitute, and that it was pretty cool. Kevin was happy because the junkies really seemed to like him. He was about to tell them another story when the dump truck came and emptied the dumpster. Kevin and the junkies were thrown into a large bin, and the truck pulled away to dump its cargo in a water reservoir in Mexico. Lying amidst the discarded eggshells and women's hygiene products, Kevin thought how this whole thing happened because he'd listened to his jerk-off of an old man. Kevin figured he'd never be that stupid again. Kevin had just fallen asleep when the truck ground to a halt.
I'm Officer Santiago, the Mexican Border Patrol. We must search your truck.
When the guards searched the truck, they found Kevin and the two junkies asleep.
Hey, look at this, Corrado. More white gringos trying to sneak into Mexico to find jobs. It's sad, amigo. All because of that NAFTA agreement.
The guard told the driver he couldn't enter Mexico with the gringos on board, so the truck dumped Kevin and the two junkies in a nearby dumpster. Sometimes when you're a chain-smoking alcoholic sociopath, you run into problems remembering things, like where you are and how you got there. This was one of those days. Kevin's mom decided that if someone was going to bring some money into the house, it would probably have to be her. So she attended a rigorous 2-hour training session and got her accreditation as a licensed Scamway Cosmetics sales professional and lingerie model.
Kevin, baby. Your mama's going to work. Can you help me carry some of my heavy stuff?
One of the few things we can agree on.
Look, just pick up the damn suitcase, or you can sleep at the mission like your man did last night.
They give me free soup and a hat.
Kevin's mom walked up the street to her designated sales area and knocked on the first door. Kevin couldn't believe his eyes. It was the nurse from the dentist's office, the woman he'd worshipped from afar for so long.
I'm Anastasia Spencer, your local Scamway sales representative. Hey, you sure got a lot of pretty stuff in your house.
I'd love to buy some cosmetics, so long as they're all animal friendly.
I guarantee that no animals were harmed. We get these so cheap, 'cause of child labor, not animal testing.
Kevin watched as his mom and the assistant tried different cosmetic products.
Try this.
That's nice, but what do you think about this?
That's nice too. Now, try this.
That's great. Like musk. But does it work with this?
They're just exchanging perfume with each other.
It went on for hours, and Kevin started to get bored. Then he noticed that all the perfume spray was filling the room and starting to give everyone a really neat buzz. Mom was already screwing up her metaphors.
I'll tell you why I married the bastard. 'Cause I like my men the way I like my sandwiches. Stupid and lazy.
You want to talk about men? I once had sex with my boss in the dentist chair.
You don't say.
Suddenly, Kevin found himself very interested in what was going on and listened intently to the juicy tidbits about her wild, on-the-job passions. But just as it was starting to get interesting, Kevin's cigarette ignited all the fumes in the living room and blew out all the windows of the house.
Oh dear, that's not good.
Oh well, I guess now's as good a time as any to let you try on the lingerie.
The dental assistant tried on the whole range of Scamway's skanky summerwear, and Kevin's heart was starting to beat out of control.
Yeah. Dude, if you want
He
those
decided
out,
he'd better go to the
my nose
bathroom
will
and
bleed.
calm down.
Oh, bingo.
Once inside the bathroom, he pulled out a bottle of cough
Oh, my
syrup
goodness.
and drank himself up some courage. But he couldn't get that imagery of the sensuous young dental assistant out of his mind. First, his mind raced with the images of the sloping enclaves of her supple body. Then his mind raced with a good hard cough syrup buzz. Then he passed out. Soon his mom started wondering what was taking the boy so long in the bathroom, and she assumed the worst.
You think I don't know what you're up to in there? I know what you're doing. Get out of there right now, you little pervert.
What's going on? Why did you call him a little pervert? You're not suggesting. Oh my God, that's disgusting. How could you bring that little degenerate into my house?
Hey, that's my degenerate, you little hussy. And maybe he wouldn't be in there pounding the knockwurst if you went dancing around like the little tramp you are.
That does it. I'm
Okay,
calling 911.
Or maybe not.
When the rescue squad showed up, they had to get Kevin out of the bathroom with the jaws of life. Then they had to get
Those are
Kevin's mom out
huge
of the
jaws
latex
of life.
bodysuit with the jaws of life.
Okay, that's
when
a bit
Kevin's mom decided
over-exaggeration.
She didn't like working for Scamway. So she just worked long enough to be entitled to unemployment benefits and went back from knocking on doors to screwing the system.
No,
But not before finding someone qualified to take over her sales area.
Good afternoon. I'd like to show you the full line of Scamway products for
Indeed,
women.
Balmo.
It was almost time for closing arguments in Kevin's appeal, and it was looking pretty positive. Everything about Kevin's life made it seem as if he was the victim of an upbringing that left him completely irresponsible of his actions.
I don't want to get your hopes up, kid, but I think the judge is on our side this time. You could walk out of here a free man.
All of a sudden, Kevin did something that stunned everyone, even his lawyer. He called a surprise witness.
Surprise witness? I'm your lawyer, and no one told me about any surprise witness.
As a character witness, Kevin called up Alan the Magic Goose.
Kevin is a good and wonderful kid who only wants to fit in. He's a victim of a careless society and a stifling upbringing. That and his head don't work right because it's crazy as sin. Tell him that, boy. Tell him how you can't help yourself because you got no conscience. You broken-headed freak.
Kevin knew that no one else could see Alan, so he told them everything he was saying. The court sat in stunned silence as Kevin ruined his own airtight case. Well, not quite stunned silence.
Again with the magic goose. I'm laughing so hard I'm gonna hurt.
They're gonna toss your ass right back in the joint, kid. Right back in the joint.
Is there ever going to be a single
Dad
moment
wasn't
where,
any Rhodes
where
Scholar,
Kevin doesn't
but he
listen
sure
to
was
that
right
goose
this
in
time,
his head?
because that's exactly what they did. Kevin's 2 weeks in solitary were up, and he was allowed back into the general population. While he was in solitary, his Uncle Phil had been reincarcerated because he violated his parole by failing his drug test and because he held up a gas station.
Long time no see, Phil. How's it going?
I was framed. What's the matter with your boy, Percy? He don't look so good.
He ain't used to the sun on account of always being in solitary.
That little freak looks sick, lah.
He ain't sick. Unless you count his head.
I keep forgetting that he's mentally wrong. Too bad you ain't sick, boy, because if you get sick, they take you to the infirmary and give you a nice bed, lots of drugs, and a nurse.
I don't think that's what they
That
do.
night, as Kevin stood over his new cellmate just to make him really uncomfortable and scared during his first night in prison, Kevin decided he'd try and fake being sick the next day to see if he could weasel a trip to the infirmary. Kevin thought long and hard about what kind of illness he wanted to fake.
Next episode, then.
It wasn't the first time he'd faked being sick to get what he wanted, but the last time he'd done it, he'd made a big mistake. And he didn't want to go through that again.
Take off them pants, Spencer.
Kevin was getting bored just looking at the new guy, so he decided to make a lot of quick jerky movements towards his new cellmate to see if he could make him cry like a big baby and wet his pants. Then Kevin decided to go over everything that had happened the last time he'd faked being sick to see if he could figure out where he'd made his mistake.
Well, I think that's a good place to end on the episode. Bye, everyone!